Have we done this before? I asked you. Dividing by fractions? Anybody? Anybody going on both ways? Anybody knows dividing by fractions? No?
Not this year.
Oh, good. Let's look at it. Let's say we've got this. What is 1 divided by 1/2? It's always good to try to think outside the box here. If you take one whole thing, and what I'm asking you is, how many halves can you take out of 1? If you start with one thing and you divide it into halves, how many halves, Jaden, is there? 2, yeah. 1 divided by 1/2 is 2. Or 1 divided by 1/8. How many 8s are there in 1? Lady Kavarik says 8, because if you take 1 and divide it into 8 equal pieces, you get 8. Now that's all well and good when there's a 1 on top, yes, you say, because I would ask you this question: how many 1 divided by 3/4 is what number? In other words, I'm taking one circle and cutting it into how many 3/4 can I get out? And you could say 1, but that's not the exact answer. You get 1 whole 3/4 out, but you get more of another 3/4 out. Oh, I know. Here's where the thinking comes in here. Anybody think they got this? Brianna?
21/3.
Oh, how'd you come up with that?
Because there's 3/4, and it's square, and then you take how many 3/4, and there's 3/4.
Is that really what you thought? I just want to know for sure. You didn't come up with it any other way than that. Because if you are, you're probably one of the, maybe the only one in the entire class that came. It is 1 of the third. Let me show you pictorially why that is. I want to know how many 3/4 I can take out of this, correct? So here is, this is 3/4, right? That's like 3/4 of the circle. So I take one whole one out. I can get one whole 3/4 out. What do I have left? What is that? That's 1/4, right? Well, 1/4 is what fraction of 3/4? 1/4 is what fraction of 3/4? Isabel? 1/3. So you're right, it is 1 1/3, very nicely done. Now the question you want to ask yourself is, do I want to sit down and try to do that? Let's say I have 2 divided by 3/8. Brandon, you think you got that one in you? 2 divided by 3/8? How many 3/8 can you take out of 2? And for those of you looking at this going, believe me, I'll give you the easy way to do it in a second, but it's always good to figure out the hard way first, and then you appreciate it. Riley says,
2 divided by 3/8. 1 and
oh, no, you get a lot more than 1 3/8 out of, you can get 2 3/8 out of just 1, because 2 3/8 is 6/8, so that's 3/4.
4.
Are you guessing?
Yes.
I'll tell you, it's a mixed number. How's that? So it can't just be 4. Kara?
5 1/3.
Kara says 5 1/3, which is correct. Did you do that by drawing pictures, Kara, or did you come up with a different alternate way to do that? Did you really? Did you? Again, not easy to do. It's true. Here's the deal. If you draw the pictures, and again, we'll stop this in a minute, because you certainly don't want to spend your life drawing these kind of pictures. So here we go. Here's my 2 whole things. Because I'm working with 8s, I'm cutting them in 8s. I look at how many 3/8 I can take out. Here is, that's one group of 3/8, correct? Here's 1, 2, 3. Another group of 3/8. Here's 1, 2, 3. A third group of 3/8. Here's 1, 2, 3. A fourth group of 3/8. Here's 1, 2, 3. A fifth group of 3/8. So that's my 5. I get 5 whole 3/8. And then I have 1/8 left over here. 1/8 is what part of 3/8? A third of it. Now you don't want to do that because, Kara, could I ask you to do that with this? What if I had 17 divided by, wait, how about 17 divided by 12/13ths? You want to try that one for me? Oh, wait, let's just have it. Now, going back to this screen here, let's go with the easy way here. What did you notice about this and this? Because this is kind of where we start here. Brianna? The answer is the same as the denominator. And what if we were making this a fraction? What would this be? And if I made this a fraction, what would it be? Okay. What do you notice about these things? No problem. Keith? The reciprocal, and that's the key here, because the phrase that pays for today's is to divide by a fraction. To divide by a fraction, comma, you multiply by its reciprocal. And you need to have the words, and then you have to have the example there in just a second here. I'm going to go back to Kara's, which I believe was what, 2 divided by 3/8?
Yeah.
Okay. To divide by a fraction, in order to do that, the quick and easy way is you change this from a division problem into a multiplication problem, but you multiply by this fraction flipped over. It's reciprocal. So you take 2 and you actually multiply it by 8/3. And guess what you get? 2 times 8 is 16. 3 times 1 is 3. If you simplify that, you get that 5 1/3 that we came up with. But it's, remember, where people usually go wrong is they flip the first one instead of the second one. You always flip the second one, the one that you're dividing by. To divide by a fraction, you flip and multiply. It's just that easy. You know, so if it was 6 divided by 1/5, well, let's do 2/5. 6 divided by 2/5 is the same as 6 times 5/2, which ends up being 30/2, which is 15. Just that easy, children. Because in the book, they're going to ask you this. You have a row of pennies. You have 3 pennies, side by side by side. And that row is 2. Actually, I don't know how many pennies I have. It's 2 and 1. What's it say? 2 1/4 inches long. Each penny is 3/4 of an inch. I have more than 3, by the way. This is just my example there. How do I figure out how many pennies it would take to make up a row 2 1/4 inches long? Well, you want to know how many 3/4 are there in 2 1/4? How many 3/4 are there in 2 1/4? This one might be kind of tough, is it? How about this? 2 1/4 divided by 3/4. Can we do that? Do you guys change things to mixed numbers and proper fractions? Alright, I'm guessing by the blank stare on your face. Let's just say it was 2 inches long. How many pennies would it take to go? Maybe we just have to stop right here because it won't be an even number of pennies. Let's just forget this problem and move on to something a little less. They actually, this would be one right now you'd have to do by. You would have to do by the picture method. Let's look at it in the picture form. Here's my 1/4 of a thing here, right? How many 3/4? How many 3/4 can I get out of 2 1/4? Well, take a look. Here is, I get 3 of them, that's 1, right? 1, 2, 3, that's 2, and then 1, 2, 3, that's 3. Let's just move on. Sorry, kids.